listening to the Republic of Texas Radio. I'm Steve O'Brien, rtradio.org, and I've got Tom O'Halloran on the line, and you're at patriotradioshow.com. Is that correct, Tom?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Hey, we were just talking to Ken in Fort Worth, and he was talking about the RT trial that occurred in 1998. Are you still there, Ken?
Yeah, right here. Yeah, also, I'll tell you about David J. Smith was in a courtroom. He just passed away. He's got Newswatch magazine, but you can go on YouTube and you hear what David J. Smith had to say.
So, were you following the Republic of Texas in the 90s? Is that why you ended up over at court?
Yeah. We went to a meeting with them over here in Fort Worth, and somebody was saying that they was going to give money away, and I couldn't figure out what they were talking about, unless you guys know. Anyway.
I don't know. So, tell me, what was the Republic of Texas in the 90s? I didn't know anything about it. What did you see?
Well, you had to seek them out and see what they had to say. But anyway, I knew a trial was coming up, and then McLaren was involved. I don't know what happened to him.
Mm-hmm.
Is he still in prison?
Yeah, he's still in prison. They got him for creating pieces of paper again. You know, it's kind of one of those things. I'm always interested in finding out what the old republics of Texas were doing, because there's been a bunch of there's been a bunch of restarts of the Republic of Texas since they allegedly decided to join the United States back in 1846. We had the McLaren Republic of Texas. You had a couple different ones before 2005 when it was restarted by the current Republic of Texas that existed. Texas Republic.
One thing I heard the word Switzerland mentioned in a courtroom, I wondered, what was that about?
I'm not familiar what you're talking about.
I was just wondering, did the Republic of Texas send money to Switzerland? I have no way of knowing. I'm just putting that out there to give you something to think about, or maybe you guys know something about it. But they mentioned Switzerland.
I've never heard anything to that effect at all.
Yeah,
you don't know what it was about. I don't know what they were talking about. Why would they mention that?
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of stuff that gets made up in the corporate media system, but that's the first time I ever heard about anything about somebody sending money claiming to be the Republic of Texas in Switzerland.
I don't know. I have no way of knowing. Anyway, another thing is when this all came about in the 1840s or whatever it was, whatever happened to the money they had? You guys know?
Well, it all got rolled up into the United States of America.
Could be.
In the state of Texas.
The people in the Alamo had money. And when the Mexicans took them over, they took all the money. And then when they took over the Mexicans at what city was on there? Anyway, they must have had money, they must have taken it from them, and whatever happened to it. Did they use it to build the state capitol or what?
Well, actually, money in those days was a little bit different, and the real currency, real money, I'm reading a book right now. It talks about a lot of the history of, Texas independence. And hard currency, gold and silver, that wasn't traded an awful lot. The big thing was the land, because the land becomes the money. A lot of different properties were what everybody was fighting for. The fact that the Red River was going to be this big commerce thing for them to run cotton plantations, and they bring in a bunch of slaves, and you run a bunch of cotton and you sell it for really cheap, and you got lots of money, right? You could trade that for gold and silver. But at the time of the Alamo and the 1835 and so forth, a lot of the money, there wasn't a lot of money. There was a lot of paper, and the paper was me giving you a note saying I'm going to pay you, and then me borrowing money and so forth like that.
But when Santa Anna came up here, he had to have silver and gold with him to buy food from the local to feed his army.
Well, sure.
And he had money on him when he was taken over.
Well, he had money, right, for sure. He had hard currency. He was the government. He was the emperor, right? But he didn't have to buy food from anybody. He just took it. That's the nice thing about
the emperor. Maybe he just stole it as he went.
Yeah. So there was no heroes in that time. Everybody was something else, and it was the collapse of a republic. The Republic of Mexico collapsed on itself and became an empire again, right? And we've done this all over again. We joined, or allegedly, Texas joined the United States as a republic. Well, that collapsed again and became this thing that we have now that's operated more like an empire. Hey, Ken, thanks for your call.
Nice talking to you.
Yeah. Oh. Hey, Tom, you interested in staying on while I bring Ed on?
Sure. He's a great guy. I'd love to talk with him.
Okay. Hey, Ed Branham, are you there?
Hey, how y'all this morning?
We're doing really good. Got kind of a chaotic, confusing show going. I hope you can add to that.
Chaotic, huh?
Yeah, it's live radio.
Yeah, well, I've only been involved since 1995, so, I don't know a whole lot.
Yeah.
So you knew Davy Crockett and Sam Houston then, right? 1985. I thought you meant 18. Okay.
He's not that old, Tom.
You mean Uncle Crockett?
Right?
Okay. The reason I brought you on there, Ed, is because not this month, but this month too, actually, you got my ears kind of twitching a little bit as you started, how do you say it? Started talking about how to plan for Texas removing itself and what essential services need to be taken care of. Right, and this month over at the Republic of Texas Joint Congressional Hearing of the 19th Congress, you started pushing through to get that formally adopted and start formally making plans for the Texas independence. Can you briefly go through what that's for?
The Texas independence will automatically be here when we're recognized, and that's the priority right now with the international committee. That's what they're going international with. But as soon as that happens, we have to have a plan laid out on what we're going to do with an enormous economic country,
Mm-hmm.
Should be about the 8th richest in the world. Now, when I say rich, I don't know how rich it'll be if the Federal Reserve note crashes. What are these people going to do then? That's the question. Well, we're trying to lay out plans on what we would do when all this does happen, because it's going to be dropped in somebody's lap. And if we can get ourselves recognized as a nation, it'll be in our lap.
Yeah, I see that. I see that international committee, the ones that's working on international committee, as being important. But I think what you're working on is probably as important, if not more important, because one avenue to Texas independence is through international recognition. But I can see in my head many different paths to Texas independence, and they all require a plan, an understanding of how the system works, all the touch points, and how to communicate to it. That's what you're trying to do, right?
That's correct. We're actually, if you get a picture of, we're actually running parallel right now with the state of Texas. We cannot go in, and these plans have to be laid out with all these different departments and stuff that the state of Texas have, wasting money and everything. We're going to have to go in and decide which ones are, wasting money or not worth keeping or whatever. But a lot of these departments have contracts all over the world with different things, and we will have to take those contracts individually, because we can't just cut off a contract that may have been a 5-year contract and they've only worked on it 2.5 years. We can't just throw that out the window.
Okay, let's go into that a little bit. Tell me more about those contracts. Give me an example.
Okay, how about a freeway contract?
Okay, Spain. There you go. So we gave
all over Texas,
the tollways. So they have a contract with the United States government, right?
It could be with the United States government. A lot of the toll roads are being given to Spain, which we got to stop that. But we cannot afford to go in there and get 1,000 people laid off that's working on a contract, just because we're taking over.
Ed, can I interject a question here? It's a little bit off track here, but it ties to the previous segment when we were on with Doc Green, and something that happened just on Friday when the United Nations took over possession of the Alamo. Do you foresee that being undone when we get this independence declared?
We will. They do not deserve any property in Texas. Under the original annexation, the only property that the United States could have the United Nations not even mentioned,
Right.
No, the United Nations not going to have anything as far as we're concerned.
So
they're trying to take over the parks also.
Okay, so the United Nations or UNESCO taking over the Alamo is different than Spain building roads in Texas. How so? I don't understand.
The Alamo, we've got to do some checking, because I talked to one of the daughters of the Republic in Goliad one day, and they were filing a lawsuit against the city of San Antonio. The city of San Antonio took that Alamo away from the Daughters of the Republic. They've been keeping care of that thing for years and years and years. And what I got to find out from the Daughters, if there's actually a lawsuit going on with that Alamo, that I don't see how the city of San Antonio could give anything away if it's tied up in a lawsuit.
Oh, I got that answer. Pick Steve. Oh, they don't follow the law, Ed. They don't care. They just don't.
You got that right.
The laws are for the people to follow, not the government.
Yeah, I know. Okay, essential services. Let's get back past the contracts. What are they? Can you define those for me?
Contracts?
Besides the contracts, the essential services, what do we need to maintain in the government? I know where I want to start cutting. I want to start cutting everywhere.
All these countries, when they sign oil contracts, they're usually 30-year contracts. You see, that's why one reason, even though we're pumping all the oil out of Texas and North America, that it's flooding the market, because those 30-year contracts are still in place with the Middle East, and they have to buy that oil because of those contracts, even though we got plenty of oil. You see, so what are they doing here? They're signing contracts. The oil companies are now, not the state. Signing contracts like with China. Chesapeake Oil is giving 40% of all the oil coming out of the ground over here around Victoria area 40% of it goes to corpus and puts on a ship and goes to China.
Okay. Hey, Tom, were you going somewhere?
Pardon?
Do what?
Oh,
I thought Tom had something to say.
No, I wasn't interjecting anything there at all.
Okay.
And I'm right with Ed. He's exactly right. We need to essential services we have to keep in track, but we can't just blanket accept all contracts as they're written, because people sign contracts for different reasons. And even if it made sense for a state to sign a contract, it may not make sense for us to sign that contract as a republic. But that aside, the people that are doing the contracts have their personal interests and personal reasons for signing contracts that may go beyond the interest of the state or the republic. It may be kickbacks. It may be personal gain.
Our main object is to protect the people.
Yes.
If there's a contract out there that's for some politician or something benefiting them and not the people, yes, we will go in and stop that.
Okay, so contracts are going to be looked at, because I remember Venezuela, when Venezuela had its coup, or however that went down, that government pretty much said, well, all these contracts are null and void. Screw you guys, right? And different companies claimed to own the oil, or the rights to the oil, and they just said, screw you. So what you're saying is, case by case, we'll take a look at the things that the state of Texas, the United States government, has gotten into, and we'll deal with it like that.
Correct.
Okay.
You take like in the so-called state of Texas, there's 20 million acres of land in the school system, supposed to be in the school system. Well, there's an enormous amount of oil and gas coming off those 20 million acres. And yet I cannot get a report or figures on exactly how much money has been generated that and where is it going into the state of Texas. Somebody's making a killing off of that. And it's supposed to be going for the schools. There's enough oil and gas out there on those 20 million acres to take care of these schools and everything without any property taxes. There should be no property taxes.
Okay, we're heading into a break. Got about 30 seconds. After we come back, we'll start taking some callers if they want. Phone number here is 1-800-313-9443. That's 800-313-9443. And I see that my clock is a little fast. We got about another minute.
I got a question I'd like to ask Ed, and maybe he can give some thought to it and answer it when we come back. How much federal land is there in the state of Texas, Ed? Once we do this, they'll no longer own the land. So how much land will we have that the republic will be able to sell off and raise money from?
Yeah, we got about 30 seconds. You want to start that one?
There's about 13 military bases covering many, many acres, probably 100,000 acres in Texas, just on those military bases.
And BLM
some of those military bases, we will have to convert to our own military.
Right.
The state, and most of the property you see these federal buildings on and stuff the property is not owned by them. That's why I wanted you to, if you can find out who owns the property where that Alamo is.
Right.
There's the music. Hang on. We'll take your calls coming up next. 800-313-9443. That's 800-313-9443. Got Tom O'Halloran and Ed Branham from the Republic of Texas on the line. Hang on.
Recent events have shown just how vulnerable we are to deadly viruses, bacteria, and fungus. These diseases are all caused by infectious pathogens that often get the upper hand on conventional medical treatments. Now more than ever, there's a great need for a product that will help protect us. Look no further. Supernatural Silver can provide immune system support to help fight off these deadly pathogens. Supernatural Silver is a new and vastly improved type of silver solution that's safe and extremely effective against 143 types of bacteria, both forms of viruses, mold, and yeast. Supernatural Silver can be taken orally or used topically and can be used in a nebulizer or vaporizer for inhalation. With over 180 scientific studies by independent universities, hospitals, and research institutions, Supernatural Silver is a powerful weapon against disease. Go to supernaturalsilver.com and use the promo code SILVER2014 for 20% off your entire order. Give you and your loved ones a fighting chance with Supernatural Silver.
There are many water filters to choose from, but there is only one system that is consistently customer rated 5 stars as the #1 system for effective filtration of fluoride, radiation, drug residues, heavy metals, a wide range of radioisotopes, and more. Introducing the Pure Effect Ultra, the next generation water filter that also raises alkaline pH, improves antioxidant potential, and has advanced anti-radiation technology, all while using no electricity. Sold worldwide, it provides virtually instant clean water on demand. It is not made in China, and the shipping is free to all 50 states. Buy your Pure Effect Ultra today by visiting PureEffectFilters.com. or call 888-891-4821. Again, that's 888-891-4821. Or visit PureEffectFilters.com.
Hi, my name is David Merlin from TakeFromCaesar.us. Income is defined in the tax code. All property is a cost, including labor, according to statute. You're deprived of the provisions of Section 83 whenever you pay an income tax on your compensation. According to Section 83, only the excess over the amount paid is gross income. The government can't so much as provide an interpretation of Section 83 of its own. Get your paradigm shift and understanding today at TakeFromCaesar.us.
Wouldn't it be nice to have one product that replaces more than 10, saving you space, time, and money? HempUSA.org has a complete full-spectrum vitamin mineral detox formulation called Micro Plant Powder Gold. Micro Plant Powder Gold contains 101 vitamins, minerals, probiotics, and iodine. Has a 100-year shelf life and is a perfect addition to any storage shelter. Make Micro Plant Powder Gold your choice. Call 888-910-4367 or visit HempUSA.org today.
Okay, well, let's get back to it. Hey, you're listening to the Republic of Texas Radio. I'm Steve O'Brien, and I'm joined by, Tom O'Halloran of PatriotRadioShow.com and Ed Brenham, Vice President of the Republic of Texas. You can see, the Republic of Texas, more about them at thetexasrepublic.com. And we were talking about federal land. We were actually talking about federal land within Texas boundaries, right? Occupied Texas, if for the lack of a better term. And Ed had just told us that, most of it is schools. There's not a bunch of parks in Texas as well. Is there, Ed?
Not a bunch of
federal parks.
Federal parks?
Yeah.
Well, they're claiming federal parks, like Big Bend out there, David Crockett Forest. What they attempted to do years ago is give those parks away to the Heritage Foundation, which is a branch off the United Nations. Mm-hmm. And there are some parks outside of Texas that have United Nations signs up in the parks.
Yeah, not on our soil. I found something on the break on the internet that said there are over 120 million acres of BLM land in Texas.
120 million?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a lot of acreage.
They're probably including all the parks.
Yeah, I'm sure they are.
Along with their military bases. The only land that they are actually agreed to have in that annexation was anywhere they have ammunition depots. You know, of course, they could have a little outhouse full of ammunition and.
Well, that was at the time of annexation. That was at the time of annexation. The BLM was just created a couple of decades back, and they just come in and decide what they want. So
that's correct.
We're not saying that this is legally owned federal land, but it's land that we will be able to reclaim and redistribute.
I know. Earlier, before we came on, you were talking to some fellow about, how Texas, where there was the money in Texas back in those days. Well, there's 26 million acres that they had to play with, something like that. But they did land grants to everything in Texas. You take, for example, like the railroads, there was no money exchange. They gave the railroad 640 acres of every mile of railroad that they would put in.
Wow.
Okay, and that's one reason there's so much land that these railroads are sitting on that was given to them for putting those railroads in. There was millions of acres done that way.
Hey, Tom mentioned 120 million acres, that little number. Let's just assume that it is 120 million acres that the federal government claims to have. How would, after independence, what would we do with that 120 million acres? The Texas government doesn't own property, do they? Or is that their job? Or would they sell it off? Or what would happen with that? What are your thoughts? You probably thought about it before.
Well, if that's like including the parks, we'll keep them. But what we'll do with all the national parks is turn that over to the counties that they're setting in. And if there's any money to be made off the parks, then, they will need to take care of it. There's no use of national government being involved with county parks, you might say.
I should have known that question.
Military bases, some of them we can just completely remove. The only thing is a lot of them are full of toxic materials.
Mm-hmm.
And
be a lot of cleanup costs.
Yeah, we can't hardly take those and dish them out to the people, put lives in jeopardy.
That's the music. We're coming around. That was a short segment. Here we come. Hold on.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
The IRS is a private corporation, not a government agency. Income tax is collected by voluntary compliance. To learn to unvolunteer or discontinue volunteering into the IRS, visit escapeharassment.com and immediately implement Strategy 1. The process must be repeated each and every time. Paper, letter, envelope, presentment, etc. Always and forever. Failure equates to acceptance, subsequent resultant contract, and you pay or go to jail by your own consent and agreement contract. Avoid recontracting. Visit escapeharassment.com and implement Strategy 1 immediately. Bar lawyers and accountants won't help you. Why wait? Get Strategy 1 and immediately implement it to divorce the IRS today and forever. That's escapeharassment.com, Strategy 1, to be free from the IRS. escapeharassment.com.
Has your dancing and romancing done gone away? Are you moaning and a-groaning from the stresses of the day? Are you reeling and a-peeling 'cause a headache's on the way? Well, relax for just a moment. Stress relief is on the way. Of what am I speaking, you ask? The essential oils of long historic use, the wisdom of the ages, the health care of the ancients, frankincense, myrrh, hyssop, and hundreds of others too numerous to mention. What could be more appealing? Do you know that Young Living Essential Oils has an element of life that makes them extremely effective in body rejuvenation? This element is called vibration, and it works with body systems, not against them. The professionals at Divine Living Oils have tested and been so impressed with this product that we are using them to help others. And who are we? We are health professionals with many years' experience. Trust us, we have seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. Our motto? Because we care about you. Do your health and spirit a great favor. Call us at 304-542-4226. That's 304-542-4226. Again, that's 304-542-4226.
What are you thinking? Micro plant powder with iodine and probiotics for a total body detox for around $10 a month. HempUSA.org has 12 formulations of micro plant powder for absorbing and removing toxins from your kidneys, liver, blood, lungs, stomach, and colon, and feel better than ever. It alkalizes, oxygenates, kills parasites, does the job of 10 products. That saves you space, time, and money. Call 888-910-4367 only at HempUSA.org.
Come to Finca Baiano, a small community in Panama, which is being established for people who believe that a future crisis may be difficult to survive in North America after a collapse of the system. Go to bugoutpanama.com for more information. There is limited space for 100 people only. Go to bugoutpanama.com to immigrate as long as you can. Prepare. Don't despair at bugoutpanama.com.
Dr. Joel Wallach, author of the famous health lecture, Dead Doctors Don't Lie, presents his newest book, Epigenetics. Epigenetics is required reading for the very survival of Americans, and yes, all of humanity. Modern man has bet on the wrong horse to save them from disease and pestilence. The medical system has failed us fearfully. Join the health revolution. Buy Epigenetics today and receive a free membership to purchase all the products that Dr. Joel Wallach formulated at wholesale prices and receive a free CD of Dead Doctors Don't Lie. All this for only $25 plus shipping and handling. Call 888-311-4311. That's 888-311-4311. Again, that's just $25 plus shipping and handling. And you'll receive the new book, Epigenetics, a free membership, and a free CD of Dead Doctors Don't Lie. Call 888-311-4311. That's 888-311-4311.
Okay, well, we're back. Yeah, you're listening to the Republic of Texas Radio. I'm joined by Tom O'Halloran and Ed Brenham. Tom's site is patriotradioshow.com, and Ed Brenham is the vice president of the Texas Republic at thetexasrepublic.com. I'd like to apologize for not bumping everybody around through the show clock. Republic Broadcasting is a wonderful place, and we have different little segments that are different times. We have about 18 minutes to cover all the information that we need to cover before the last and final segment. We were talking about the toxic land that will be left to us after the occupation, and I'd like to talk a little bit more about those military bases. You know, once the occupying forces leave, we get all their sludge. Now, you told us earlier, Ed, that, you know, like the parks, as they claim for federal land, will be returned to the counties. I'd say it would be the same with the military bases, but do we leave all these counties with their toxic, memorials?
No, because we will still have the Texas Guard, Texas Guard Air Force, Texas Guard Coast Guard. So there will be places, that the government will have to keep.
And we'll start restoring.
We'll probably have places along all our borders. We're going to have twice as many border cross points than there is now, because you're going to have the east, west, north side of Texas. Right. Not just the south.
Yeah, a lot of people ask me about that. What is Texas going to do? Throw up a big fence, or how do you see that?
A big wall.
Oh my.
Well, you take back the DPS. All highways and road construction and taken care of should go back to the counties. Let the counties take care of them. And, for example, like all the DPS officers, there's over 3,000 of them from the last thing I saw. That's a lot of people put on our borders. And your president Border Patrol or ICE or whatever you want to call them, a lot of, I would say probably 50% of them at least, are not going to want to leave Texas. They were born and raised here,
Yeah.
So they're not going to all go. In other words, and
right. And if they're here and they're qualified as residents of Texas, then that only takes being here in Texas for 6 months. Is that correct?
That's correct. They have a right to claim to be a Texian.
How much time do you think it's going to take to seal up our northern and our east-west borders? I mean, once we declare independence, I see the freeways just getting bottlenecked trying to get here. How long would it take before we are able to get the borders under control?
I had a guy tell me from Indiana one time, 15 years ago, if Texas ever became independent, there would be no U-Haul trailers left in Indiana.
That's what I'm saying. And if we don't manage to control it fairly quickly, we could have all the stupid people that destroyed California coming in.
Well, they're going to have to be careful about that. We're not going to have any welfare and all that kind of stuff. And
yeah. That may be how we have to get rid of them once they get here.
Yeah, they can't become Texians for 6 months. So they're going to have to be able to support themselves, for at least 6 months if they're going to come into here.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to go screaming out of here, too, because they don't understand or don't want to work, and maybe they're comfortable and don't see themselves as having any skills. A lot of people live off, the Uncle Sam's dime. You get welfare or controlled housing and food, and that could disappear.
That's why the United States is broke right now.
Yeah.
And the bluer the states, the broker the individual states are as well.
Correct. Even Harris County, Houston, Texas, is having problems. The largest city in the United States.
Hey, you talked about prisons yesterday and people that are in jail. Care to share that with us again? What are your thoughts? What's the current thinking?
One of the things on our plans we will remove. We won't remove the prisons necessarily, but all the prisoners, all of them that are from other nations like the United States or wherever, we will contact the governments and tell them to pick them up at a certain border crossing. If they don't pick them up, we'll just turn them loose. We'll give them a chance to come get them. I guess that'll be our way of extradition.
And we'll be releasing nonviolent criminals, right?
Yes.
A lot of them.
All nonviolent criminals that have not harmed anyone or harmed anyone's property will be set free. Now, all the prisoners left after that, after the ones returned free and the ones that we send to their own nations, like the United States, the ones that's left that have harmed somebody or done something bad, they will have to go back through a common law court. And a jury will have to decide on that.
Yeah. Okay.
Common law jury.
Well, that'll be interesting. Hey, let me apply one of your other thought forms to that. There's a lot of contracts with these prisons to keep them at capacity and so forth.
There you go. There's contracts again.
We just keep people in jail because contractually, I guess case by case. Is that where we're going with that?
The contracts, they have some prisons that are privately owned, have nothing to do with all they're sitting there doing is making a killing, all for the prisoners. It's probably one of the money-makingest things in the whole North America is these prisons. And, let's take the one that makes all the license plates for all these automobiles. We won't need a license plate.
Right.
Amen.
Tell us why, Ed. Tell us why we don't need license plates.
Because we're not going to be licensing people. The minute you license someone, you took away their freedom, their rights, and they now only have privileges if they pay for their license. Otherwise, they lose their privileges.
Okay, that begs to deal with the next question. Well, what about people that are driving the way that I don't want them to drive? How do we deal with that, Ed?
Okay, the road signs, speed signs that you see on the highways, those highways have been engineered, and that speed sign is saying it's telling you anything above that speed, you're unsafe. Okay? So the way I look at speed signs is they're caution signs. And if someone goes above that speed sign and they run over and kill somebody or something, then they are going to have to appear in a common law court, and the jury will decide what to do. Whether it was an accident, they couldn't be avoided or something,
But there would have to be a victim, somebody that's harmed. You're not going to get a ticket and pay huge fines just because you went fast.
No.
Okay, well, let's go one step further.
Now, I can't say we can't come out here and tell a county, what to do in their county. The county is people of that county have to decide what they want to do. We got to keep it a free country, and if we go start telling people what to do, then it's not free anymore.
Right, definitely. But creating laws for the county, that's definitely a legal thing for them to do. If they have an issue with texting and driving, drunk driving, any kind of eating a hamburger, that's a county level, correct?
So basically what we're doing is we're zooming back out, and the state of Texas is now the Republic of Texas, and the different counties will be like the states that will have their individual laws and jurisdictions.
In a sense, that's right.
And right now, we're fighting for states' rights. We will be granting a lot of those rights to the counties.
I have even thought about looking into. We have 7 districts right now, and we're allowed 8. For like our district judges, and those districts cover large territories of Texas. And I have thought about looking into maybe making those 7 or 8 districts, make them states within our government.
That makes a lot more sense. You can have 7 or 8 states' laws because they're large enough that you can travel all day and not have to worry about what state you're in. When you have 300 something different counties, it gets to be real complex. Do you just see us going back to the original counties? Because we didn't used to have 300. There were 36. Will we go back to the 36 counties?
When we started in 2005, we set the Republic up exactly like it was in 1845, when just before it transferred to the state of Texas. There were 36 counties.
Okay.
So that's where we got. That's where we got that. The way we found out what counties actually was in 1845 is we found the list of congressmen, senators, and representatives that ran on that last election, or were elected, that were elected on that last election. Well, that gave us a list of all the counties. That's where we got our counties from.
Hey, actually, Bob Wilson did a little good bit of this. You can go over to rtradio.org, collect on elected and appointed officials. It's just Bob Wilson and myself. We talked a little bit about that. Actually, Dr. David Krupa was on that show. You know, he was my co-host for a minute or two. Maybe he'll be coming back. Hey, we got Mike in Minnesota that's been patiently waiting on the line. I don't know if he's still there. Hey, let's bring him on. Hey, Mike, are you there?
Yeah, thanks for taking my call.
Hey, thanks for calling.
I just want to throw a few things out there as all the ideas you have, and also we need to look at things, education in our judicial system. We have been operating, since 1870, under an administrative system. Every judge, lawyer, and prosecutor would have to, I don't like using this term because it sounds communist, but they'd have to be re-educated because they've been operating under a defunct system for so long that's illegal. They would have to completely relearn how to judge cases. Also, you got our educational system. You have to look at the people who own these corporations that produce, they're Jews, okay? I'll just come out and say it. The Zionists control the learning publications of what kids are taught in schools these days. They own these companies, so they write the curriculum. That stuff would have to be done in-house in Texas. You'd have to completely rewrite all the books of all this garbage that's been pumped into kids' heads, and they'd have to be relearned.
Okay, hang on a second. Let's address those 2 points. Great. Hey, thanks, guys. Hey, Mike, hold on a second. I want to throw this off to Ed. Hey, what do you think about? Mike's totally right about the education / the bad word. It seems to be re-education. How do you tell people what they know is wrong? Because that's happened throughout time. In Germany, they had re-education camps for their entire thing, and I don't know that I support a re-education camp. How does people understand where we are in Texas? How will that happen? Do you know?
One of the biggest obstacles in our course of doing this will be education, because it's not just the judges and everybody, it's the people. Their minds are all screwed up, because they just keep dumbing them down. Mm-hmm. We will not have what you might call public schools. We would support or help support all private schools, which and we'd have to start eliminating what he's talking about with these books and everything. They're even teaching them there's no difference between male and female now. You know, they're all the same gender.
Right.
It's getting worse and worse and worse. They're even operating on kids in California, changing their gender without even notifying the parents.
Oh, I know we live in a horrible environment, a controlled environment, a programmed environment. So are we going to let the re-education is going to be through natural assimilation into a republic? There's going to be no... I guess there will be people like Tom and myself out there talking about, you know, the world around us and how it's changed. That might be part of the education, just talking about it.
Upon our recognition, the first thing we will do is notices to all major television, radio, internet, newspaper, legal sections worldwide, and posting for 3 weeks on all county court bulletin boards.
Okay, hang on. Let's do the break.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Extendovite really works. Here is what people are saying.
Heart problems were in my family, and I did notice these chest pains occasionally. I decided to try it, and I don't think I'm going to stop for quite a while. Nothing has worked as well as this product has promised to. I've taken, supplements and that sort of thing, and never really noticed a difference.
Well, I turned 60, and when I went into the doctor to get my reports, the lady at the desk, she looked at it, and she says, wow. I says, what's that say? So she came back and looked at my last check. She says, well, you've gone down half on your cholesterol. So she says, I guess don't do a thing, only what you're doing right now.
To get your Extendovite, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Dr. Joel Wallach, author of the famous health lecture Dead Doctors Don't Lie, presents his newest book, Epigenetics. Epigenetics is required reading for the very survival of Americans, and yes, all of humanity. Modern man has bet on the wrong horse to save them from disease and pestilence. The medical system has failed us fearfully. Join the health revolution. Buy Epigenetics today and receive a free membership to purchase all the products that Dr. Joel Wallach formulated at wholesale prices and receive a free CD of Dead Doctors Don't Lie. All this for only $25 plus shipping and handling. Call 888-311-4311. That's 888-311-4311. Again, that's just $25 plus shipping and handling. And you'll receive the new book, Epigenetics, a free membership, and a free CD of Dead Doctors Don't Lie. Call 888-311-4311. That's 888-311-4311.
There is only one detox product that stands out above the rest. Micro Plant Powder. And it's available only at hempusa.org. Micro Plant Powder does wonders by removing toxins from the body. Detoxification is a vital process that's extremely important for restoring your health. Micro Plant Powder is available in 8 different formulations, and we can help you choose the one that's perfect for your lifestyle. Micro Plant Powder is 100% chemical-free, non-GMO, anti-inflammatory, gluten-free, and packaged by hand in BPA-free containers. HempUSA.org wants you to be healthy, and Micro Plant Powder is one of the best ways we know to detoxify your body from head to toe. All for about $10 a month. Take back your life and enjoy living again with Micro Plant Powder. Call 888-910-4367. That's 888-910-4367. Micro Plant Powder. Available only at hempusa.org.
Okay. Man, it's funny. Seconds are precious. So you're listening to Republic of Texas Radio. I'm Steve O'Brien. And we got Tom O'Halloran and Ed Brenham on. We'll talk a little bit more. We also have our caller, and that would be, oh, God, what is it? Mike in Minnesota? Yeah, that's right. Hey, where we left off, I want you to finish that up. Once we get our independent notices, will be sent out to the different media. What kind of notices are those?
Well, one right behind noticing that the Republic of Texas is in place, we will announce immediately all Texians' homestead property is free from all taxation, excluding county or city taxes where the people have full control of their local laws or codes and can adjust or abolish those. That will be immediately. We find freeing the people up from this property taxes and stuff. We'll get their attention immediately.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but then...
Disgust out there on that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But then the an understanding of the public school systems will have to be communicated as well. Like Mike said, the public school centers are really indoctrination camps and teach propaganda and, lots of strange thought forms. Somebody's going to have to tell these people, that don't exist anymore. And then they're going to kick and scream and say, we want our programming.
I'm not too sure. You don't know California. Don't know for sure if there'll be a school system. There may not be any FRNs.
Okay. Hey, Mike in Minnesota, you got the last word. I'm going to need to finish this up. You got anything else?
Yeah. Like I was saying, I think it was last week, on the teachers, it's very important that there's like a heavy vetting process, because education, I don't know if it has to do with, education is very Zionist controlled, and, then you got your unions and this and that. You'd have to have a very heavy vetting process of your educators before they could even step into a classroom ever. And I'm talking from principal down to kindergarten. Everyone, if they have contact with the kids in a learning capacity, then they have to be heavily vetted. You can't. If you're going to do away with the system, you got to do away with it. We'll just keep this. No, you got to do away with it. Another thing.
I hear you, Mike. Hey, let me go on and have Ed address that really quick. Thanks for your call. Call back next week.
I'd like a word on that one as well.
Oh, well, why don't you do it, Tom?
Oh, okay. First off, I don't know what Ed is or Mike is coming at the Jews for. The problem in American education is much more serious when you look at the Islamists. Saudi Arabian money has been dumped into our school systems. There are more Islamist student clubs than there are Republican or Democrat clubs in our schools. They are teaching lies about Muhammad, teaching that he is a benevolent man, that Islam is good. They're teaching our kids to embrace Islam, which is all about killing and pillaging. The problem there is far more severe. They pumped hundreds of millions of dollars a year for the last dozen years.
Hey,
and yes,
thanks.
It has to be cleaned up.
Okay, thank you both for joining us. Thank you all the callers. This is Steve O'Brien. You've been listening to the Republic of Texas Radio. Out of time. Love y'all.
Had a more intimate connection with the spirit world. Learned as a community and equally taught every boy and girl. The tree of life is us, my friends.
With financial uncertainty circling the globe due to job losses, decline in the housing market, a climate of corruption, bailouts, currency rigging, and unfair competition, many are once more turning to precious metals as the only hedge against the uncertainty of the future. With the U.S. House conducting hearings on proposals to confiscate workers' personal retirement accounts, including 401ks and IRAs, this is the time to secure your assets. Call Republic Trading Group today, 800-691-7898 before this happens, and find out how easy it is to convert your existing IRA and in some instances your 401k plan into real wealth now. Don't let the ravages of hyperinflation caused by the massive increase of fiat currency now flooding world markets affect your retirement account. Call RTG at 800-691-7898 and experience the security and peace of mind that only real gold and silver can offer. That number again is 800-691-7898. Call now.
This is RBN, the Republic Broadcasting Network.